And we're live here at the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal.
That would make me terrible Troy.
I'm Treacherous, Trista.
We're joined by the returning Glenn Payne.
Hello.
And Casey Dillard.
I'm going to be carnivorous Casey for this.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah, I had to come up with something.
You already have Payne in there, which is pretty
yeah, doctor. I'll just lie that I have a doctorate. Let's go with that.
What's your doctorate in? Pain.
Yep. Professor Payne.
Yeah, there you go. That's good.
Oh, that one's good.
I have taught before. That's
Yeah, Dr. Payne is not a good thing.
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Payne is his business, and business is good.
All right, we got all kinds of good ones floating.
Exactly. Now, the new movie out is Killer Concept.
Yes.
We were talking beforehand. We all really like the movie. We all love the movie.
Yes, indeed.
Not just
Well, that's good news.
Yeah, that's good. I feel a lot.
Glad we don't have to fight anyone tonight.
Throw down right away.
You guys outnumber us, so
Yeah.
that's not always the case. No, that's great to hear.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah. Now, we had set this up a little while ago, and it kept being rescheduled. So at this time, though, the movie's out. So how can people see it?
It is available as we speak through Amazon Prime. So if you have Prime subscription, you can watch it, free-ish that way. And it's bound to hit all the other platforms any second now.
Yeah, I think it's making its way in a to-be direction. We just don't necessarily have a date on it.
And I think the DVD and Blu-rays should be available at the end of the month, approximately.
Yes.
So, outtakes and commentaries and whatnot.
Oh, I'm a big fan of commentary. So that's what we're saying. Hello.
Hey!
Hi, baby.
All right, Casey, your turn. That's a pretty dog.
Yeah.
Or a huge possum.
Yeah, I think he's muted himself by accident.
Oh. Is that the baby? Sorry, guys.
No, this is Maru. He's
the middle one.
Oh, I was like,
the
the
middle
baby's
one.
not so big. Oh.
Well, Naito's pretty close to being his size. He's still a little bigger, though. Maru wanted to say hello.
Hello. He's the one who can jump very high. He was jumping over the fence.
Yes, he can.
They had to build a higher one.
All right.
So can you explain for people not aware yet what the concept of Killer Concept is?
Mr. Dillard, do you want to take that one?
I can, yes.
Director?
So it's about a group of creatives making a movie, trying to write a script about some murders that are taking place in their hometown. And they do not realize, or all of them don't realize, that one of the team members has been committing those murders. And it becomes an interesting little game of, like, is he influencing the movie or is the movie influencing him, etc.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. Any of that, besides the murder part, any of just like the way you guys are coming up with ideas and stuff, any of that like based on like how you actually work together?
We do sit around and pitch ideas. The dynamic's definitely different.
No ball. Anything.
I don't think we've ever written anything based on actual events, or I haven't anyway. So this particular set of hurdles has not come up.
Maybe, you're just not aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I realized I needed to change my name, and I just checked out the conversation for a minute, but
You sure did, man.
It's corrected now.
Oh.
But your name's awesome.
It is
so.
awesome.
I know everybody's got the perfect names up there.
Yeah, well, I saw Casey had done hers. It's like, when did she get this done? No.
No, that was subtle. I didn't notice either. It just
Yeah,
was
she
there.
slid that in there.
I'm very sneaky.
The dog was distracting us.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Now I feel part of the group now.
yeah. What is
Oh,
yours?
man.
Check that. There you go.
Yeah.
What was about this movie? What was interesting is, so we filmed it, in the COVID-ish times. I don't even, it's hard to tell what time is anymore, but and we were like, we had this opportunity to make a movie. And so we brainstormed with like several different ideas, like just totally different concepts in general, all based around kind of what we had access to. We made it with just 5 people most days, total cast and crew, front of the camera, behind the camera, everything. So everybody that worked on the movie is in the movie at some point.
Yeah.
You know, like we didn't throw the blue ball back and forth when we were pitching ideas, but it's always one of the nicest parts is to throw out ideas and play around with what you can come up with. So that's one of my favorite stages.
Did you know that going in that you'd be filming it during COVID? Is that kind of one of the reasons why there's, you know, only a few characters?
We filmed it because of COVID. Basically, mainly that Coley, I guess, had access to more free time than he normally would. And like one thing that's always hard to do about making a movie is working around people's schedules because they have to work. And with so many places shut down and whatnot, we had access to time. And it just became sort of a, do you think we can do this? Sure, why not? Like, let's give it a shot situation. So our production was not affected by COVID so much as it was caused by it.
What's funny too is I think when we actually got to start filming, he had gone back to work. So that was sort of out the window. So then we had to film around.
I think he had a couple of days.
Yeah, he'd come after work and, you know, stuff like that. It was done in pieces, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool sometimes too.
And Puckett and Caleb were still free most days at that point.
True. Yeah, for sure.
Because they hadn't started going back to work. So we could like knock out Mark and Holly scenes.
Yeah.
And then whenever Coley got off work, we could shoot Seth sequences.
So what was that experience like, you know, filming with a relatively small crew?
It was, I mean, in some ways it's really refreshing because you don't have certain logistics to deal with. Like everybody's in town. So you're not having to deal with like sleeping arrangements or hotels or feeding 20 people or
coordinating 5 schedules is always a lot easier than coordinating 20.
Now, of course, you don't have 20 different pairs of hands to do all the things you got to do. So it limits what you can do in a lot of ways. And you have to be really specific about how you are going to use everybody and everything and what you can get away with. Can't do a lot of big sweeping camera moves because you don't have the people to just to man it, you know?
Right.
So we try to craft a story knowing that going in and come up with something that's an intimate tale that can be told and hopefully, you know, in a successful way with those people that you're going to have there. Good friends to hang out with and work on stuff.
Yeah. Casey mentioned, you know, one of the people making it, you know, in the movie is the killer. And you find out relatively soon in the film. So it's not like a necessarily who is it or anything. Was that always like how you guys were going to make it? Did you ever think like, well, maybe we'll leave it up to the audience to figure out who it is later on in the movie or have the reveal right away?
I think the reveal was always planned early on because I think the initial premise was like 3 roommates living during lockdown, and one of them was a serial killer, and it was supposed to be a lot more comedic, just seeing them getting like increasingly frustrated and pent up living with them, and then it became more the them making a movie aspect. So it was never planned to be a like who's the killer. It's more just like let's throw the killer into this situation and see how they react.
Well, one of the first things you mentioned to me that I remember was the whole like the conversation idea of the 3 of them talking and the killer pitching an idea and then being like, nah, that's stupid. That doesn't make any sense. It would never be like that. And the killer's like, but that's what I did. You know, it was just funny situation to me. So.
Now, Trista, do you have a question?
Yeah, so I love this movie. I thought it was super smart and funny, and I was engaged the whole time. But my question is really just a simple aesthetic question. Are those your houses? Because they're really cute houses that you used for the locations.
Thank you. Yes, they were.
Yeah.
You guys have the cutest homes.
Thanks.
Yeah, this is you're looking at it right now. Like right over there is the living room.
You can't see much of my interior, but yeah, I do have a nice house. I'm biased, but it's cute.
Well, what's funny is I don't think there's any reason not to say this, choose to say this. So your house that you're in now, Casey, was my character's home in the movie.
Right.
And my home in real life was Seth's house in the movie. So yeah, we just, you know.
That's funny. You switched houses?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know whose dogs those are. Are those yours, Casey?
No, those are mine. Yeah, they're
okay. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons we use my house because
they're being buttholes.
Yeah.
There's just a dog barking somewhere, and they've decided to get all worked up about it.
What in this world?
Yeah, they heard Maru barking upstairs, I think.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it's outside.
Oh, that's funny.
Along the lines of the look of the movie, I like how it's kind of stylized when Mark's in his killer bag.
I'm going to mute my end for a minute.
All right.
Yeah, get out of here. Now let's get to the real stuff.
There's a different look when Mark's, being an actual killer in the movie, and I think that was interesting. Like, how did that come about? Like the thought behind that.
Well, we definitely had his lair, is what we kept calling it, which is a shop, my dad's auto shop up by my house. So in the story, he kind of inherits that space. So we wanted to be this place that he goes to and kind of get a little crazier with the colors. And he's a photographer, so we use a lot of red, like he has the dark room in there. So it gave us a reason to kind of play with some of that too. And then obviously we tapped into that old Pied Piper movie, which brought a lot of stuff to the film that I wasn't expecting at first when I was looking for some kind of a public domain title to use. And then I was like, wow, this I feel like there's a lot here that we can use, and it started influencing the story. But yeah, it's fun to craft and play around with the color and the look and stuff when he's around them versus when he's somewhere else. And even in some scenes, I think when my character and Casey's are together, the coloring is slightly more, just slightly, but more normal, like a little less saturated or tinted or whatever you want to call it. So, when he's away from people, he gets a little weirder when he's in his own space, I guess.
There's also a little bit of an orange reddish theme with him as a killer in general, just with like his coat and his car. And when you see him interacting with others, he's usually in cooler colors, but it's like, no, that's who he really is.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned you made the movie during COVID. How did that affect how you put the movie out? Because I know Driven did a lot of festivals. So yeah. I don't know, did Killer Concept do like the virtual festivals, or did you put it right out digitally?
We are in a few international festivals that I think we're still not allowed to announce.
Yeah, pretty soon, but not yet. Yeah, almost.
But we didn't do many stateside ones because the idea was just kind of to make it and put it out there, like a fast turnover, fast production, everything kind of low key, because we also, we didn't want to be promoting it, being like, all right, everybody in Oshkosh, Kansas, I want y'all to pack out that auditorium to watch Killer Concept in the middle of the pandemic and everything like that. So we, it was more, and I think some of it had to do with how much we were relying on streaming shows and movies during the early days of the pandemic. And it was like, yes, let's get more content out there.
For sure.
Yeah. And when Trista mentioned it's smart, I like a lot of the dialogue at the beginning, especially Casey's character is like, she doesn't want the movie to be over like a lot of the cliches you see in like slasher movies, a lot of the naked women. And there was a line about hillbillies and inbred, which I'm a big fan actually of inbred hillbilly movies. So maybe that'll be your
Just to be clear, you're saying you're a fan of them in movies.
in movies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, yeah.
But art imitates life. So
Yeah.
I'd like to do a month of those at some point. It would be a good theme, I think.
you'd have plenty.
And that dialogue. So the dialogue, Casey came up with the story and then developed an outline. We probably both kind of batted stuff around on that. But after that, it was all improvised, except for one scene. So all the dialogue in the movie was made up, on the spot. Right before we filmed each scene, we would do it once as a practice and kind of see what we liked and didn't like, and then
Try to block them out.
Yeah.
So that if there was any movement, we'd know what it was going into it and things like that.
Right.
And give us an idea of like what needed to be said in a scene versus what was retreading old ground.
Yeah.
So we, it wasn't scripted, but it was rehearsed ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
Had you worked like that before?
We have, yes. Not that well, but yes, we've done it.
And we've been doing improv for, I don't know, over a decade now.
Right.
Coley has not.
Mhm.
So we threw him into the deep end, and he I thought he did very well. He because if he hadn't done, we would have had to shut it down because
Yeah.
at all.
Would have been the end of the movie, right?
Yeah, it would have been
I
over
thought
really
he did super well.
Yeah, he did. He did really well.
Does that when you do it that way, does that is that harder to edit? Are there more takes and you have to edit down to see what you like, or
I think it could be.
you rehearsed it beforehand?
It could be insanely chaotic. So I wouldn't advise it to people to do ever. Unless, not say ever, unless a number of you have done improv for a long time, because that can help. You
Make it a deliberate choice that you're making for the movie, not just because you don't want to write a script.
Right.
Yeah.
That I laugh at I totally get that, because I've seen things where people say that they've, purposely went in without a script, and you can actually tell when you watch it, but
Mhm.
done well that you can also tell, but it's funny and it works.
Mhm.
Right.
Well, the few things I've been in, not to make anything about me, but I work a lot better making my own stuff up than trying to memorize lines. I'm not good at that.
Well, everybody has their own cadence, their own phrasing that's just going to feel more comfortable to them. And like, I will say that with Holly, she might be kind of similar to me, but like Seth is very far removed from who Coley is as a person. But because he was able to phrase things in a way that Coley might actually say them, he was able to play this character that's so different from him, but it felt natural to me. Obviously any viewer's mileage may vary, but I thought he did a great job, and I was impressed that he was able to do both of those things. And I'm going to mute myself because now a bird's screaming.
Wildness over there. I thought it was crazy here, man. Trista,
Her bird also has really sharp little teeth. It's amazing. It's pretty much the same.
all right, well, be careful over there. Trista, did you have another question?
Yeah, I'm a true crime aficionado, so I feel like I enjoyed the film even more because of that. I'm wondering if you guys are as well.
I have been increasingly getting into it again, probably because of COVID. Like, I feel like everybody went down at least 5 rabbit holes during COVID. And I definitely, like, there were a few things that I got very interested in. I haven't done a proper deep dive, and I'm not an aficionado like one of my friends that can man, he holds a lot of information from these things. A concerning amount, honestly, but it is really interesting to listen to something like that. That it's like, hey, here's the information that we have gathered. You do with it what you will.
Yeah, I like that the killer himself finds out more about himself through the script of the movie. You guys know more about him than he does in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting too. Yeah. What are you gonna say, Casey?
Well, I just didn't know if I could get into the specifics without getting into spoilers, and I don't think I can.
Fair
I
enough.
don't want to give too much away because I think any movie, the less you know about it going in, the more fun
Right.
you're gonna have. But we can't do an interview and not talk about the movie at all.
Absolutely.
That's true. I mean, you can try. I guess.
Yeah, just talk about animals, I guess. But
Right.
how about Cody? You mentioned a few times. How did you work with him before? How do you guys know him?
Yeah, Coley. He was
Oh.
in he's been in a couple of episodes of Stag Wrestle Paranormal for the true fans that have followed all of our projects. But yeah, he was in our ghost hunting mockumentary series, and he's popped up in a lot of things that we've done. He's very talented, and he's just super great to work with. Like, I will work with brilliant actors all day, but at the end of the day, if I'm picking between two, the one that's like least likely to make me want to hit a wall at any point during production is going to get my vote, and that would always be Coley. I would throw me off a set before him.
His first project with us was wasn't he in? It was a horror movie, right?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. So I made a short film called A Horror Movie.
That's actually the name of the movie. Okay.
Yeah, and I should probably send you a link to it because I mean I think you guys would enjoy it. So
it's
like
silly, but it's fun.
Yeah, it was like 10 minutes. It's a little spoof and yeah, people who clearly are not teenagers playing teenagers in high school, and it's a lot of funny stuff.
What does that mean? I was one of them.
Yeah, you.
I know.
Yeah. But anyway, so he kind of filled in last minute there, and then after that, we just sort of kidnapped him and
well, I also think he filled in last minute on something else and
Yeah.
did really well, and we were like, okay, we'll definitely want to keep him in our back pocket.
Earlier when Trista mentioned true crime, part of the movie when I was watching it made me think too. I wonder what actual serial killers think if they watch a movie about themselves.
Oh, and do they want to come forward and be like, that wasn't right?
Exactly right. Yeah, I think that'd be interesting.
Sure.
I don't know if you could put this together, but if you could get a actual serial killer to do commentary track over a movie about,
like the Zodiac Killer, one of those movies or something.
Right? Yeah.
You picked the one that they never caught.
This is how we're going to catch them.
Yeah, so I'm saying this could be the new thing. You just make a $20 million movie every time you
lure him out.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how we just start solving these things.
Right.
I'm sure really
expensive. Make a very insulting documentary about him.
That's the sequel. Yeah.
Get a very unflattering picture. By the way, do any of you guys have your photos approved for if you go missing and the news needs your picture?
No, I didn't know this was a thing you could do.
I just think it's smart to. You don't want to be at the mercy of whoever picks out your photo.
Right now, Casey?
What?
Are you threatening us?
I'm just saying it would be smart.
Yeah,
for each
just
and every one
in
of you
case.
to have your missing persons photos picked out.
Better get those ready.
I don't know what's so suspicious about that, but chop. Don't think about chopping.
Yeah. Do you have yours picked out?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Wasn't that a stand-up bit where the guy was like, my parents made me stand with my name and age and take a picture?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, clearly they're going to think you did it, the parents.
Yeah.
Because like,
Well, he said if he had ever gone missing, his parents would have 100% been the first suspect because they already had all of this material made up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking, because I post a lot of stupid pictures on my Facebook, I'm kind of worried now.
I mean, at least you have lots of options.
That is very true. It's probably way too many anyone could ever go.
Somebody scrolling through my phone is like, more pictures of the cat.
Oh yeah, that would be me too. Like I have plenty. If the tortoise goes missing, I got plenty of photos.
I'm ready to go.
So it's a comedy horror, as we mentioned, but the end of the movie does take a different vibe. It is more horror at the end, which I like. I thought it really worked in the movie.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, first of all, thank you, because we started the movie without a definite ending in mind. So I'm always happy to hear if people enjoyed it. Yeah, I think the way that I've tried to describe it is more of a dark comedy, which isn't to say that horror comedy is wrong, but like it's definitely grim in a way that a lot of comedies aren't. I'm trying to even think of something to compare it to.
Like the tone of this movie, you mean?
Yeah. Just like if you took away the horror vibe, because if you took away the horror element of like Tucker and Dale versus Evil, obviously it would be just a straightforward comedy.
Yeah.
And I just got distracted trying to think of if we took the horror element out of Killer Concept. And I guess I guess dark comedy is the best I can think of.
Yeah. Well, this movie was interesting too because Driven, our last movie, which Casey wrote. I mean, when I read the script, I was like, "This is funny." Like, I mean, this is going to be very funny.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, there was no actual script, and you knew situations were funny, but when we did it, by the end, because the whole point was it to be like a dark comedy or horror comedy or whatever. But at the end, we were like, I don't know how funny it is or isn't, because there was no like written script and so we even watched
when we got the music, I was less worried about that.
Yeah.
I thought that elevated a lot of the humorous and scary scenes. But yeah, when we first watched it, we were like, is it funny anymore? Some of that stuff, I guess we were having fun on set, but like now that I'm seeing it, maybe the scene wasn't.
But people tell me that it's funny, so that's good.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Along those lines, although I would assume it's hard to tell when it's your own movie anyway. Especially watching so many times you're editing it, you were there, we were filming it, to know to sit back and just watch it as a movie and know if it's funny.
It apparently it is, because like I said, when it's written down before you film it, it's pretty easy. But like, oh, that's funny. It's a funny line. But then when that hasn't happened and you just watch it, you're like, I think that's funny. But I'm in the scene, so maybe I'm just pretending it's funny. So I don't think I stink at this.
Right.
But it was and I guess that's a good way to transition to the fact that this was so experimental, and we've talked about why already. But and we also made it with basically no money at all, so that was cool. Except for not having a lot of money. It was really experimental.
We got some money for it after the fact, though.
Yeah.
Like that's one cool thing. The crew of this movie has been paid because we got some grants after the fact. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So sometimes, I guess what I'm saying is to any aspiring cast and crew members out there, yes, usually you're going to be like, if someone says we're hoping to make some money and pay everyone afterwards, you're probably going to be working for free. But like, if they're a good person, they may come through in the end. So decide if you think they are good to work with.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
In Driven, Glenn, you just have a fairly small part, almost a cameo. But so in this movie, you're directing and you're also one of the main people. What was that experience like?
It's very enjoyable. You have to pick your spots pretty carefully, like what type of movie and how much you're balancing, so you don't just sort of break. But these guys, doing the scenes the way we did them, and with Casey and Coley and even Caleb and Puckett, the other two guys on our team, like we're all really supportive. So I felt very comfortable with it. And the fact that we were improvising, which I'm pretty comfortable with, since we've done it so long, I think that made it a lot easier too. That I wasn't having to memorize specific, chunks of dialogue for the whole script because Mark's around a lot. Yeah, but it's cool. Sometimes it's more pressure than others, but I'm glad I did it. I enjoyed it a lot. And
you also had a lot of nonverbal scenes in this.
yeah, which is super helpful. Yeah.
Mhm.
And there's a couple moments where I forget how many days we filmed, but there was a lot of like half days. So it's kind of a weird count. But at one point, there's a couple scenes where it's like, if I try to coast through this, which you never try to do, but if you accidentally do that, I'm going to really screw this thing up, So there's a couple times where I was worried that I wanted to make sure I didn't screw it up, So hopefully that didn't happen. But yeah, I'm glad it was fun. It was fun to get to do more acting in front of the camera on something that I had control over, which is nice.
Trista, you have another question?
Yeah, I'd like to know more about Dead Leaf Productions.
Yeah, so that's, I guess, my production company. So it's basically just anything that I make is Dead Leaf Productions, which
It's
usually
Glenn.
involves
Glenn is Dead Leaf Productions.
Yeah, and then typically you're going to see Casey Dillard in there, Coley Bryant, and then some other guys that are around. Michael Williams is there a lot, and then now Puckett and Caleb Hall. So you find good people, you like to bring them and get them back if you're lucky enough to, as much as you can. Bless you. So yeah, it's just my production company, and then so all the films that I've made will be under that, and then also commercials. We've been doing a lot of fun, cool cinematic commercials lately, like little tiny movies, which have been fun too.
For a local game company that does mystery boxes. So they're like, we get to do these little mini thriller vignettes every now and then.
Oh,
It's called a Deadbolt Mystery Society. Little plug there.
Yes.
Super cool guys.
yeah, that sounds cool, up my alley. I like board games and stuff. So that sounds cool.
Yeah, they are super cool. And like she said, we get to do a lot of little vignettes that are fun, different things. Like we just did one that's like it's like 30 seconds, but it's like a character, and then there's like a cult where people are wearing fake animal masks. And,
Spoilers.
well, it's a tease. I'm trying to get them some business.
Yeah, I'm gonna make myself a possum mask.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. When Trista mentioned about the true crime again, and even though it's a horror comedy, there's a lot of other things involved in the movie. And I think you asked a question like, making entertainment out of an actual killer. And I think that's a good theme of the movie. And even though it's a comedy, there's that's a real question that a lot of horror people ask themselves. Should I watch or make entertainment about like an actual killer?
Mm-hmm.
Casey, how much thought did you put into, because that's all from you there, and your character as well, but was that a big sticking point for you to make sure you got across? Or touched on, I mean.
Not necessarily. I think it's a really interesting conversation to have, but I don't know that I have a strong opinion on it one way or another. The main thing as far as like having Holly talk about it is because it was her not acting like a character out of Mark's fantasy suddenly. And it was like, wait, I've been thinking that you viewed me in this specific way, and I've built up a lot of fantasies around it. So again, I think it's a really interesting conversation. If we want to stay on that topic, I'm good with it because I do think it's interesting. But at the same time, it was more about how it was more about how it served our narrative.
Yeah, when you're talking there, because right before this movie came out, the Richard Ramirez documentary was out on Netflix, and I saw a lot of people who really had a big problem with it and said it should be taken off Netflix and stuff. But I never saw anyone mention about him being a character on American Horror Story. And I actually think that one is way more romanticized version of Richard Ramirez than the documentary. The documentary was a documentary and
Yeah.
purely a monster and did terrible things, but in the fictionalized version, he's like a very good looking guy and all the women love him, and like, he's
Yeah.
I mean, he's a killer,
Yeah.
but at the same time, he's like, they don't have anything about him, doing stuff to kids. I mean, it's a much more
It's a
romantic.
cleaned up, sanitized version.
Yeah.
On American
Yeah.
Horror Story.
Well, and like I remember there was a lot of blowback about the Zac Efron Ted Bundy
Right.
thing, but it was like, yeah, well, that was kind of the point of Ted Bundy, wasn't it? That he was like a clean cut, nice looking guy.
That's why people trusted him.
And but again, I don't know that I can comment on it because I haven't watched that particular Ted Bundy flick. But yeah, it's a new conversation that people have started having, and I think there's something to it, but it's like you said, I feel like the ones that get more of a pass are the ones where they're like a minor character, but so distorted that it's almost something different. And I don't know. I guess it would be a good comparison would be like how Mark views himself would be the American Horror Story version of Richard Ramirez, and how he actually is probably closer to the documentary.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah. I always have those thoughts too, not even with someone that was a murderer, just in general, any kind of biopic or something. There's always that line of like how true do you have to be to the facts exactly versus
Right.
making it entertaining and having more of an arc or being exciting.
Yeah, because man, something that's gonna start biting a lot of biopics is that they always keep trying to insert an actual villain where maybe there wasn't one.
Right.
Cinderella Man is the first one that comes to mind, is that the family of the guy that they kind of set up to be the villain in that movie was very unhappy with the way that it was portrayed. Not that I think serial killers should get feedback on how they're portrayed in
that's a good
biopics,
point.
but
Yeah, well, there's a lot of questions. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I mean, it.
right.
It's a completely. It's a
Like at what point are we writing historical fan fiction? And if so, like, I don't know. How do we need to categorize it? Or is it just meant to be consumed? I don't have the answers, only questions.
Right. Yeah. And I'm not the best. Like when I'm in LA, I always go to the Museum of Death, which is a museum of serial killers and stuff. So I'm not the best person to ask these questions. Well, I recommend the place. So the movie's out now, you said, on Amazon and maybe eventually Tubi, and then the physical release. A lot of people nowadays, they don't put out a physical release. They say, physical media is, gone. And I was happy that you guys have commentary tracks, because I'm a big fan of commentary tracks.
Oh yeah. It is tricky though. I don't know, like with Driven, there's our movie Driven, there's some chaos with the DVDs there right now.
It's like they will let you release physical media for a window. So I guess if you're interested in a Killer Concept DVD, make sure that you pay attention to the release, because there's a lot of people that waited around on Driven and they might not ever get it now.
Yeah, we don't really know on that, but physical media is in a weird place. But I love commentaries, and I'll be curious to see in the future if discs do eventually get like pretty phased out, if they finally kind of can you get like behind the scenes stuff digitally if you buy a digital copy of something?
You mentioned that someone, I can't remember who, but recently was on the show, mentioned that they put their commentary track and the special features out digitally.
Yeah, we tried that with Driven, but it's even weird because you're like, what do? I think we put a price on it,
Yeah.
But the price added up to the DVD cost, and we tried to come up with something. But it's just kind of a weird landscape right now, figuring out what to do with that.
Also, our Driven extras got all messed up too, so
They
we ended up having to.
Yeah.
We ended up having. What did we do? We were like, please just send us a picture of like you holding your DVD, and we'll send you a link to the
Send you a link,
extras that.
I think it was like the outtakes and something else. Is that what it was?
The
It was
outtakes and some of the bonus features were super zoomed in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you'd be trying to watch an outtake, but it was
like this right here. Haha. And you'd be like, why is that funny? Why are people laughing? I don't
yeah.
I think it's funny. I don't know.
I think that's a new direction for the video interviews. Zoom in awkwardly.
You have to buy 4 different DVDs, and you'll get each quadrant of image, and then you need 4
collect
TVs.
them all, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Collect them all.
the action figures, they'd come with like one piece of another guy you'd build. And,
Yeah.
I like this idea. I also like the orange. I forgot when to mention the orange Hawaiian shirt that was in the movie. Then I saw a picture of you on Facebook wearing it.
Yeah, that's the shirt I hate. It's in my closet. I still have it.
I just say I think it's a pretty sweet shirt. No,
I love the shirt.
A lot of people like it.
Yeah.
Glenn just doesn't love life enough to wear it.
It might be with Casey on this. Yeah.
I'm a very muted person, apparently. So I got that with Driven for the premiere, and we did some kind of like with the fan.
I think it was like if we sold so many T-shirts, then he would wear the orange shirt. He would buy it and wear it to the Driven premiere in LA.
Which they did quickly,
Yes.
and then I had to wear it, and then I still had it, and I don't know, it just worked for Seth.
It felt right for Seth.
Yeah.
I approve, and I hope you wear it. In the future project.
I'm going to take it. I'm going to Los Angeles for 3 months very, very soon. So I'm going to take it with me. And if the situation arises, I will grit my teeth and just wear it and just look angry all the time.
Yeah. You should definitely go in angry. That's the best way to experience anything.
That's good advice, I think. Trista, do you have another question?
Yeah, Glenn, you're also a fine artist. So can you tell people where they can check out your work and maybe buy some paintings?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. My website is glennpayne.com. I got lucky and got my actual name. So I have a lot of work posted there. I haven't done as much in this last year because I've been doing even more movie stuff, I guess. But yeah, there's a lot of work on there you can check out and email. So let me know. We'll figure something out. And it's funny because I started in fine art. That's my background. And then when I graduated, I finally settled on doing a series of black and white paintings. So they were like old noir movies. So they're like movies. As before I was really making movies. And I would do all these black and white paintings. I call it Paint Noir, which was my corny / clever title. And I used to travel the country selling these sort of cinematic type images, paintings. And then I started doing more films, and then these scales I'd still do both, but got to where I do, primarily, I guess.
You ever do the cover art for your movie? Do like an old style painting for a poster or the DVD cover?
I always design all the posters. So in Photoshop, so sort of like painting, but Casey, didn't I paint? No, did I paint something for a cover once?
No.
Thought about it. Yeah, I just thought about it.
I think you talked about doing one for Cubicle City and
Cubicle
did not.
City. Yeah, that's right. But I didn't.
No.
That's cool. Oh, I did animate an intro for that though, and I painted all those. Drew painted all the. I did some really like basic animation for the intro of a short film called Cubicle City, which was a crazy office / sci-fi noir detective comedy. Casey stars in.
That old genre.
And our friend Bradlock.
She had a big monster part in this, robots and monsters and office shenanigans. I love that little movie.
You need to check this out. Is it available anywhere?
I think it's on Vimeo. I have all my shorts on there, or most of them, posted on there. I'll check it out. Yeah.
Casey and Glenn, are you going to be working on anything in the future that you know of?
Yes, we just don't know what it is.
So part of this trip is to try to get a studio to give me piles of money. We'll see if that works out.
Just in case any studios are watching right now,
Yeah.
if y'all want to contact him before he moves.
Yeah, I just not go. Just save me a lot of time. So I am hopeful for that. We're gonna try to connect with some people out there and make something happen. But we'd love to do more episodes of our show Stag Wrestle Paranormal, which is a ghost hunting comedy that we've been doing for years. But there's complications with Amazon right now, so I don't know what we're gonna do.
What's that? What are the complications with Amazon?
It used to be available to stream for free on Prime, but they've pulled that option. And now you can buy them, I guess. But, not many people are probably going to want to purchase a season pass to some show they've never heard of with 4 episodes.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of like, where are we going to put them now?
Mm-hmm. Because
obviously we'd try and add them to Amazon, but I don't even know how that would work at this point.
Mm-hmm. The odds of someone organically, coming across them and watching them on a whim, seems a lot less. So, we'll definitely make more, I'm sure, at some point. And
well, look at how the reflection of my screen is lined up on my glasses. I look like a robot.
You do. And there's something.
Oh, it's right on the eye.
It's like the window. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Save that image.
I was just saying that'll be good for the video.
For my dating profile.
I was thinking if you went missing, that's the one.
I already have my 5 picked out.
Right.
They're gonna have to make a whole documentary about me to get into that.
I love it. Where can people follow if they want to see what Killer Concept or either of you are up to?
Killer Concept is on most of the social medias at Killer Concept 1. Is that right, Casey? It's been a minute since I typed it in.
I will double check you, but I think that is right.
Pretty sure at Killer Concept 1. I am at Artist GP 2. So there's one guy who's already got ahead of me. There's 2 people.
You got GlennPayne.com, but someone actually took Artist GP.
I can't have it all, I guess.
I'm Citizen Case, all one word on Instagram, and I'm Citizen_Case on Twitter. And those are the only social medias worth following me on.
You're a good follow, as the kids say.
Oh, thanks.
You're a good
I try
follow.
to be.
You're smarter than me, though, man. You're smarter. You say funny, smart stuff.
Is anything? Are you thinking about anything in particular?
No, just most of the things that you've. I'll be like, "Hey, watch my movie, please," and then you'll have some really clever, quippy line that quotes Russian poetry or something. Not specific.
I don't know about that, but thank you. That's very kind. I definitely present smart, but don't let these glasses fool you.
Don't let this cyborg eye fool you.
Yeah. The wiring is faulty, and I'm kind of dumb in a lot of areas.
This has been very fun. It's always good to have you guys on.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll do it again sometime. People should check out Killer Concept. We all really like it.
Definitely should.
And people should check out Without Your Head.
Very good. They should,
because it's awesome.
Well, thank you. We appreciate
we always enjoy it.
Yeah. All right, very good. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you,
All
guys.
right.
Yeah,
thank you guys
so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Now I just wave awkwardly while I hit
Yes, wave awkwardly and
Both hands.